Since my wife was recognized as the daughter of a wealthy family, her attitude has changed. She has taken back the man she once admired, even though he is divorced, unemployed, and not doing well in life. But he is quite handsome. Oliver is one of the top students at our school, and my wife chased after him for a long time. But in the end he chose the more popular girl in the class. My wife, although not the prettiest girl in the class, nor the most popular, was just an ordinary-looking girl. In the end, she spent 5 years with me living a hard life, and now we have a daughter, Sophia, who is almost 5 years old. Sophia is not very obedient, but she is still very likable. When the rich man and his wife came to our house with proof of their family relationship and the police, Emily was completely confused at first, thinking that something had happened to our family, and quickly asked me to go out and deal with it. But after understanding the situation, Emily and I's first reaction was that this must be a scam. There have been a lot of news reports recently about people being tricked into having children through family searches, and Emily was afraid to believe it easily. However, there were police officers following them, so it didn't seem like a simple matter. So we finally went to the hospital to do a paternity test, and the results surprised us both. Emily really is a neglected daughter of a wealthy family, and her life has changed a lot since then. She was lying in my arms the last night before she moved, telling me not to think too much about it, that those rich family matters are very complicated. She said she was still mine, and that she wanted to go there first to explore the situation, and then when she had settled down, she would bring Sophia and me to live in the big villa. I couldn't help but laugh when I heard that. Looking at her innocent expression, I really believed her. When she first entered the rich family, she had a very good personality. But then it became very complicated. Emily returned to the villa and lived there for a month without mentioning a word about Sophia and me living there. Sophia and I were still living in a small house in the suburbs. I heard that the school there was very good, and Sophia was almost 6 or 7 years old, so this matter had to be resolved as soon as possible. So I had no choice but to call the villa number she had left at home. But when the call connected, it was a strange man on the other end. "Who are you and why are you calling my wife?" I froze for a moment, looked at the phone and the number, and after making sure I had dialed the right number, I asked, "Is this Emily's home?" "I'm looking for Emily. I'm her." Before I could finish my sentence, the other person became impatient and spoke rudely. "Emily is my wife. Don't you dare call her, or I'll sue you for harassment." What a confusing situation. After hanging up, I kept thinking, there must be someone else with the same name. There are a lot of Emilys, but this phone number and address should only correspond to my wife. After a few hours, I felt that the strange man was gone, so I called again. This time, Emily answered the phone. "Hey, it's you, Jack." I felt a little heartache and felt like I couldn't breathe. After all these years of relationship, she rarely called me by my name directly. Although there were occasional times, was she distancing herself from me? "I heard you called." I just responded, not mentioning what had just happened, but telling her that the children wanted to go to school and move to the villa area. Although Emily's feelings for me have faded since she returned to her wealthy family, she is, after all, the mother of the children and should still care. I tried to find a way to solve the problem of Sophia going to school. It really is a difficult problem. That's it. I'll hang up first. I'm a bit busy. I just asked, and the person who answered my phone call before said you were his wife. What's going on? She must have heard it, but pretended not to, and hung up the phone hastily. A month later, Sophia was admitted to the villa. Emily said something to me. "Jack, I know you are not feeling well, but I can't make decisions for this family alone. I am just a daughter here. I am also worried that Sophia will feel lost because you are not here. Why don't you live in the basement? This way you can avoid having too many arguments with them. If you live upstairs, you will inevitably have conflicts with your uncles and brothers, which is unnecessary. Moreover, the basement is actually much better than the small house you used to live in. It is warm in winter and cool in summer, and it is also dry and not humid." Her comment about the small, rundown house made me feel that the distance between us had become very large. More than a month ago, we were still crammed in that small house and our relationship was very good. But now that we have money, her attitude has changed. What happened next surprised me. She wasn't entirely wrong. The basement of a rich family's villa is much better than my small, rundown house, even if it's just for storing things. It's clean and tidy, and there's no damp at all. My old house used to leak from time to time, and the rooms were often damp, which made people feel uncomfortable and affected their health. However, after moving in, I feel much more relaxed. The most important thing is that I haven't seen my wife for more than a month. When I think of the floral dress she wore when she picked me up today, I feel that she is very different from before. Before, she was the wife of an ordinary family, but now she is a rich lady, and the clothes she wears may cost me several months' salary. In the evening, I had dinner with the whole family. At first, I thought that the men were all cousins, but I was shocked when Emily's parents introduced me. Emily, I know you've had some difficult experiences in the past, but this is a bit like the ancient men having several wives. This is your first husband, right? It's still protected by law, right? Emily's father was old, leaning on a cane, and several cousins stared at me. Emily was there, coquettish. Dad, what are you talking about? I'm just friends with them. Emily's parents did not avoid the topic, but just laughed and said nothing, as if they did not think that the Yao family was a big deal. However, in a wealthy family, it is not appropriate for a girl to do this, and usually only a man will support one. At first, I did not quite understand what this meant, until I was hugging Sophia and going down to the basement when I met a handsome man. He stopped me and said, "You are the one who called my wife, right? You are the poor boy Jack from before, right?" Hearing his voice, I immediately reacted. This was the man who answered my phone call back then, with a very high-pitched voice. I recognized him immediately, even after 10 years. He was the first person my friend Emily had a crush on, and he was also the school hunk Oliver. Sure enough, the name really fits. Although he is now in his 30s, he is still very handsome, and is on a completely different level compared to me. Why is he here? I was puzzled, and at the same time, I remembered what my in-laws had said at the dinner table. "I'm warning you. Quickly take your poor guy and get out of here. Don't live here anymore, or I won't be polite." He pointed at Sophia and me and told us to leave. I really don't understand where he gets his confidence. Who do you think you are? Didn't you hear what my in-laws said? Emily and I are legally married. She is my wife, and who are you? Even if he is good-looking, or a gigolo, that doesn't mean he can beat me up. I have done a lot of hard labor and delivery, and I don't believe he is better than me. He may have wanted to fight, but in the end he just pointed angrily at me and left. I really wanted to ask Emily what was going on, but I never had the chance to approach her. In the evening, she came to my basement, a little drunk. When she arrived, I immediately felt different when I saw that she was wearing designer clothes and underwear. Compared to the ordinary people I had met before, this feeling was really special. I couldn't help but hug her. "Emily, you haven't been back for a long time. I really missed you. What happened to you? And what about that man, Oliver?" "Okay, don't touch me." She was drunk but still lucid. After pushing me away, she hugged Sophia and said to me bluntly, "Jack, there's something I didn't tell you at the beginning because I didn't want to affect your emotions. As you know, I've returned to the Johnson family and become the Johnson family's daughter." "So," I gritted my teeth and said, "so you found your first love Oliver again. He lived with you for so long, and I remember when I called, he answered the phone and yelled at me, and you didn't say a word for me. Emily, we've been in love for 7 or 8 years, and we've been married for 5 or 6 years. Emily, you can't forget these things." Emily glared at me. "So I took Sophia back and let you live here. Do you have a problem with that? If it was anyone else, do you think I would have agreed?" My heart ached. "Could it be that you've already been with him?" Emily rolled her eyes and said not to talk about irrelevant things, that she was talking about Sophia. I immediately understood what my in-laws meant when they said Emily was following the example of the concubines. Emily regarded me as a concubine, while Oliver was her main wife, and I could only be a concubine in her eyes. Or perhaps she treated me this way because of the past friendship and the relationship with Sophia, because Sophia was her biological daughter. My heart felt like it was being strangled, and I couldn't breathe. This is the woman I have loved for many years, and I once thought I would go on with her forever. Although she is not particularly beautiful, she is also a quiet girl. But what has become of her now? I am here like a concubine, and it is really hard to watch her and Oliver being sweet every day. I looked at Sophia, who was crying very sadly, and asked her, "Have you arranged your degree? Will you be able to enter the school district next year?" I tried to change the subject and put this matter aside. Now I can only endure it. If I can't bear it, I'll just have to leave and never see her again. Here, at least when she's with Oliver, she can pay some attention to me. Maybe she'll speak a little less loudly and less often. Emily immediately perked up and said, "Of course you can. My parents are very efficient. Sophia is their granddaughter after all, so how could they not have made arrangements?" "I'm sorry, I can't handle this request," I asked her breathlessly. although you hide me in the basement, but at least you have to feed me. How can you only care about the main room and ignore me? She laughed after hearing this, teasing, you really think of yourself as a concubine. It's not that serious. Okay. Okay. The baby is here. She fell asleep immediately after saying this. I said, just tell me. Do you still want to be with me? Have you already stopped missing me? Are you afraid that your brother Oliver will see? Emily's face turned cold, and she said, if you keep saying things like that, don't stay in the villa. I saw her indifferent expression, and I had no doubt in my heart. I quickly put her down in bed. As soon as she had left the room, I heard a man's voice hugging her. I thought you were going to go with that bad guy, and if that was the case, I would have stopped you immediately. You are my little treasure, and I don't want anyone near you. What are you talking about, Brother Oliver? That's so disappointing. At that moment, I felt the whole world collapse. Even if I wanted to force it, Oliver would not let me start, and everything was just my fantasy. Emily's heart has also changed, and people can change their hearts so easily. That night, I cried myself to sleep in my daughter's arms. I told her, if one day in the future, Mommy doesn't want us anymore, who will you choose? What are you going to do? Sophia said, I'll choose Daddy. I asked her, what if following Mommy means going to school and getting a good education? I'll choose Dad too. I felt so happy, and hearing these warm words made me feel that my patience and grievances were all worthwhile. But there were still many unfortunate things. During the day, I discovered that Emily not only had a lover named Oliver, but also a man named Lucas. He was the person Emily fell in love with for the first time, and he was also a special person in her heart. This person had previously rejected Emily, and then went abroad for further studies. Although he was not as handsome as Oliver, he had a silver tongue, was humorous and generous. What's going on now? First love is back, and so is the other guy. Is it because they saw that Emily is doing well that they have returned? So everyone came when they heard the news. They are really shameless. No wonder the in-laws said Emily wanted to follow in the footsteps of her predecessors. I really regret living in this villa area a little. If I hadn't moved here, I could have loved Emily without any worries, but I don't want Sophia to go to a rural primary school, so I have to put up with it and stay here for her sake. Finally, I have a chance to see Emily alone. After dinner, I stopped her and asked, forget about Oliver. What's the deal with Lucas? Are you going to be a nobleman and like to have multiple wives? Will there be more in the future? I don't know how many first loves you have. Childhood sweethearts. Just say it. I'm getting emotional, and she's a little upset. Huh. Then what else? Why can you men have multiple wives, but we women can't? What's the rationale for that? It's the 21st century now. Everyone's views should have changed. It's no longer the time when women had no status. She discussed all this with me. I looked at her and asked, the 3 wives and 4 concubines here are other people's business. When have I ever had 3 wives or 4 wives? I've been devoted to you, haven't I? Emily, think about it. She didn't dare look me in the eye and stammered. That's because you never had the chance. Do you really think you could refuse if a rich father recognized you as his son and introduced you to a partner, for example through a matchmaking service or a business alliance? Could you really refuse? Or would you even remember me? She had a point, but I didn't have a rich father, and so our relationship gradually grew distant. Sophia stopped coming to my room after she started school. I left early in the morning and returned late at night, and got used to living in the basement. Emily looked younger and younger. She dressed up and looked like a young girl of 18, not a mother. I chose not to pay attention to this, but one day, she suddenly burst into my room drunk. Seeing how she was dressed, I couldn't help but feel that once a person gives in to indulgence, they can look so young. She had always taken care of the children and the household like an old woman, but now she made my heart flutter a little. She cried and said a lot of bad things about Oliver and Lucas, and also mentioned the pressure her in-laws put on her. Because I'm a girl at home, I'm the only daughter apart from my older brother and younger brother, but I don't want to go to work in an office, and I don't have the ability to do that. I just want to hang out with Oliver and Lucas, but they keep pushing me to go to work, and it's really annoying. Jack, can you keep me company today? I chose not to get a divorce for Sophia's sake, and although I was lonely in the basement of the villa, I endured it. Unexpectedly, she suddenly sought me out, and I suddenly exploded with emotion. After all, I hadn't been with a woman for months. I realized that Emily was now very different from before. She had become even more charming, probably due to the influence of Oliver and Lucas. Although she looked more beautiful, I felt uncomfortable in my heart. It wasn't because she had a disease, but because I had a relationship with 2 other men and I didn't like the feeling of sharing. Over the next 3 days, she spent the night with me. In order to win her favor, I tried my best to show myself. I wanted to prove that although I was not as handsome as Oliver, I was definitely better than him in terms of ability. Her performance in bed also seemed to give me this feeling. But things changed on the 3rd night. Emily suddenly told me that she hoped I could take care of her and Oliver's child, Liam, who now had end-stage kidney disease and needed a kidney transplant. Oliver and I were looking everywhere for a suitable kidney donor, hoping that there would be a chance to save him. I was a little puzzled. Why would she let me take care of him? Wasn't she afraid that I would treat Liam badly? But I didn't ask any questions. After all, she had comforted me for 3 days, and I didn't dare say too much for fear of upsetting her. After a few days of taking care of Liam in the hospital, I realized that Liam and Sophia were about the same age, which meant that Liam was born when she and I had Sophia. This also meant that Emily had betrayed me long ago. Even without the matter of the rich family claiming kinship, she had long since stopped being just mine. I wondered why she had never gotten a divorce. Could it really be because of her love for Sophia? This made me feel very uncomfortable. I felt that she was very calculating, and I really couldn't understand how she had become like this. But for Sophia's sake, I decided to be patient. It wasn't until a week after Liam's kidney surgery that Emily let me go home and told me that Sophia had died of a heart attack. I was stunned when I heard the news. I stayed at the hospital for a week to take care of Liam, and then another week, but in just 15 days my Sophia was gone. I asked Emily what was going on and why she didn't give me an explanation. I won't let it go. Emily told me, Jack, don't be like this. Sophia's death was an accident too. None of us wanted it to happen. I'm her mother too. How could I not love her? But she suddenly got sick. There was really nothing we could do. Oliver also chimed in, don't blame Emily. It's not her fault. If anyone's to blame, it's us for not looking after our daughter properly, and now we're being blamed. I went up and punched Oliver. Oliver usually spends a lot of time with Emily, and he was already exhausted. Besides, he didn't have much strength, so how could he be my match? I knocked him to the ground with one punch. Oliver tried to get up and fight me again, but I pinned him down and continued to hit him. But then Emily suddenly came over, grabbed my neck, blindfolded me, and pulled me out of the way. In that instant, I was suddenly at a disadvantage, and I was kicked several times by Oliver. After someone pulled us apart, I realized that I had taken quite a few hits. I was so angry that I pushed Emily away and asked her what the hell was going on. She said that I was her lawful husband, so why was she helping an outsider beat me up? You were still trying to break up the fight. Look at how biased you are. Look at how badly I've been beaten up. And look at him, Emily whispered. But Oliver didn't do anything wrong. He was right, and neither were we. Sophia died on her own. There was nothing we could do, and you just rushed up and hit him. You have to apologize to him. Haha, apologize. Let me ask you, don't you have a conscience? Sophia was your own flesh and blood, and that Liam, I don't know whose child he is. You asked me to take care of him for so long, but you harmed my Sophia. How can you say there's nothing wrong with this? I will definitely find out the truth until the day it comes to light. I won't let you two off lightly. No apology, no way out. Emily looked at me, stroked Oliver's face tenderly, helped him calm down, and said, look at the state you're in. This is really too much. Emily called the villa's bodyguard, pushed me to the ground, and forced me to apologize to Oliver, and I had to kneel. However, I was born to be defiant, and I refused to kneel no matter what. Emily gritted her teeth and said, you asked for this? You're so stubborn. Hold his legs down so he can kneel. The bodyguard and I put up a fierce resistance, but there was strength in numbers, and I was eventually forced to the ground, where I knelt, hurting my knee and suffering many other injuries. You still refuse to apologize, then continue to hurt him. Emily's actions worried me, especially as I was afraid of re-injuring my body, and I was also afraid that Sophia's grievances would never be resolved. For all of this, I could only endure and say sorry to Oliver. I'm sorry. Emily was very satisfied, but Oliver said lightly that there was no need. Emily, it's too much to ask Brother Jack to apologize to me, and I'm nothing special. Besides, after all, Brother Jack has lost his daughter, and it's normal for him to be in a bad mood. It's fine for him to scold me a little. Emily's tears were welling up in her eyes as she said, look at Jack, and then look at how tolerant Oliver is, and how willing he is to forgive you. Look at yourself. It's so upsetting. In the future, learn from Oliver more often, or else even the Johnson family villa won't be big enough for you. I sighed, looked up at her firmly and said, anyway, I don't want to live in this big villa. I can move out at any time. She suddenly looked back at me and asked, are you sure? Oliver's eyes flashed with surprise, and he said, come on, Jack. Emily is just tough talking, but she still cares about you. Besides, I understand how sad you are after losing your daughter. If you move out, you'll never see Emily again. Are you really willing to do that? Oliver seemed to be provoking me. I'm very sure, I said with clenched teeth. Sophia is dead. I don't want to see that couple again, and I don't want to see this wealthy family except for Sophia. I only have one request, and that is to get a divorce. What did you say? You want a divorce? Emily's eyes widened in shock. Oliver's face showed a happy expression, as if he were watching a play. He said, yes, I've decided to get a divorce. After all, we are registered as husband and wife, and now I want to separate. Since I'm moving out and I'm not going to live here anymore, there's no need for me to stay here, and I don't want to disturb your lives. Then Oliver suddenly asked, Jack, are you going to fight for some property? You know you can't compete with the Johnsons anyway, so you just want half and go, right? Emily stared at me, as if she could read my mind. I didn't quite agree. I just returned to the Johnson family. How can I just split up and split the property in half? My parents would definitely not be happy with this, and would exclude me from the family. I shook my head and told her that if we got divorced, I would be willing to leave with nothing. I didn't want anything. I just wanted Sophia's belongings. I didn't care about anything else. Tears welled up in my eyes. I insisted that we get this done as soon as possible. I wanted to leave here right away. Emily looked at me deeply and asked, are you sure? Are you really not going to stay? That look seemed to show a little reluctance. I was really speechless. You're the one who betrayed me, had a child, and made me waste my youth. And now you're acting like an innocent girl. Who do you think you're fooling? If you've made up your mind, just go. I didn't hesitate for a second. Emily and Oliver left, leaving me alone in the basement, staring at Sophia's little clothes and pants and silently weeping. My baby was just gone, and I really didn't want to let her go, but I had to find a reason for your departure. I stayed up all night. Even with the lights off, it was hard to fall asleep. It was my last night here, and suddenly I heard a rustling sound. I was curious, so I listened carefully. It was definitely Oliver and Emily's voices. She said, are you crazy? What if someone hears you in a place like this? It'll be bad if Mom and Dad come back. Oliver laughed and said, it's quite exciting to try it here for the first time. I've always done it on the kitchen bed or in the bathroom, and I'm a bit bored of it. I want to try somewhere new. I felt really uncomfortable listening to this, and wanted to escape by putting on my headphones. But then I heard him say, anyway, Liam has already been saved by Sophia, so you don't need to worry too much. Before, I was just afraid of being found out. But now things have stabilized and no one can change it. Not even your parents. Well, you're great. You're a good person. Emily gasped. Liam is my child, and Sophia is just a child born to an ordinary person and me, just to save Liam's life. There's nothing to be alarmed about. I'm actually not afraid. Come hug me, hurry. Well, okay. Emily, I really love you. Oliver was always busy, and hearing their sweet voices made me feel uncomfortable. But what shocked me the most was that sentence. What? Sophia donated her kidney to save Liam? No wonder I suddenly had a kidney source when I was taking care of him. What a coincidence. Did she deliberately let me take care of Liam to distract me? Knowing this news, my heart felt like it had been struck by lightning. How could Emily do that? That was her own daughter. Later, after Emily and Oliver broke up, Oliver panted, Emily, you've gotten fatter, but you look better. What about Jack after that? He's lost his daughter and is divorcing you. How will he live? Oliver asked. Emily hesitated and said, don't worry. I'll take care of him. After all, he's my husband of several years. To make up for Sophia, I'll let her father never worry about food or clothing again, and that's compensation for her. You're so nice, Emily. I really want to do it with you again, Oliver said with a smile. Come on, Oliver. Let's go back inside and talk about it, Emily said anxiously. I didn't hear the rest of what she said. I just felt a little uncomfortable. I'm Jack. I don't need you to take care of me. Your compensation is meaningless. Can it bring back Sophia's life? I didn't sleep all night. In the early morning, I called my overseas project team mentor. Hello, mentor. How are you? Do you think I still have a chance? The mentor perked up at the sound of my voice. It's you, Jack. You've come to your senses. Welcome. Anytime. Back then, I was the best graduate student under the mentor, and the project I worked on made a lot of money for an overseas major project team. But I chose to stay in China for my family and didn't go abroad, and as a result, I was betrayed by Emily. Now that Sophia has passed away, I decided to take her clothes and ashes with me and go to a place where it's just her and me. After the divorce was finalized, Emily said to me, "Jack, I won't let you suffer. Here's $1 million. If you ever need anything, just come to me." No thanks. I threw away the check for $1 million she gave me and left. The moment I got into the taxi, I felt a great sense of relief. When I arrived abroad, my teacher and an older student welcomed me warmly. "It's you, Junior. Everyone was looking forward to your arrival, as your topic caused a big stir back then. We all hope that you can lead the team to the next peak of success." Senior had a crush on me before, but I chose to reject her for Emily. Now it seems that she may be more kind-hearted. After all, she would not do anything to hurt her child like Emily did. I asked my mentor to help me deal with my domestic ID card and immigrated overseas completely. A few months later, I had achieved a certain level of success on Wall Street and on Financial Street. My mentor and senior sister were very concerned about me. My senior sister said to me, "You have been through a difficult marriage. Why don't you try to move on and welcome a new relationship?" Her eyes were very firm, and I understood what she was trying to say. I looked at the photo of the late Sophia and smiled, saying, "Maybe I still can't move on, but it's not because of Emily, it's because of my child." I pointed at Sophia, and my sister-in-law looked at the child in the photo and said that she was really cute, and it was really a pity that such a young child had to leave like this. In the blink of an eye, 2 years had passed, and the Johnson Group had encountered major problems in the building materials industry. The construction of infrastructure in their province was basically complete, and building materials projects were being cancelled one after the other. The situation had become very severe. Investment was being sought everywhere, in the hope of financing to ease the cash flow crisis, because many projects were unable to pay wages, and everyone was complaining. When I first returned, I heard former friends mention this matter. I remembered that Emily was still with the Johnson family, and I wondered how she was doing. When I asked about a mutual friend, she looked at me a little surprised and said, "Are you Jack? Wow, you've changed so much. I heard that you and Emily got divorced." Emily and her husband are now the president and secretary of the Johnson Group, but recently the Johnson Group seems to be in a bit of a bad situation. Right now, the Johnson Group is in dire need of a proposal from the overseas Dragon Group's project department, or it will face the risk of going out of business. I laughed and shook my head, saying that had nothing to do with me anymore, that Emily and I had divorced a long time ago. By the way, are you going to Emily's second son's 1-month-old celebration next week? I shook my head, indicating that I would not go. Emily had given birth to a few sons and was still very happy with Oliver Lucas, and I had no interest in any of it. I had returned this time just to find a partner, nothing more, and I had no desire to see anything from the past. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye, and we were about to launch the Dragon Group's planning department's investment project. The core productivity project created by our studio is considered top-notch in the world, and it happens to be for a domestic project. I chose my hometown, which is also a chance for my hometown. My senior once asked me, if Johnson Group won the bid, would you choose Emily? Or is it because Emily betrayed you that you won't choose them even though they are capable? I smiled and replied, "Don't worry, senior. If Johnson Group is not capable, I won't favor them because of personal feelings. And if they are capable, I won't refuse to cooperate because of personal grudges. I don't want to disappoint my mentor if there is money to be made." After hearing this, my senior laughed and patted my hand, saying, "You child, you're about to get married, and you're still calling me senior. Call me wife." I laughed and put my arm around her waist, teasing her that it was more interesting this way. She giggled and teased me, saying, "No wonder you always called me that in bed. The humor of people from your country hasn't changed, and even after immigrating for so long, you still can't break the habit." I laughed and responded, "No matter what, I'm still an overseas Chinese, and I'll never forget my roots." The project department of the Dragon Group had already started the banquet ceremony. In front of the banquet hall, I unexpectedly ran into Emily, Oliver, and Lucas's family, and even met my former in-laws. My in-laws looked a little strange when they saw me, but I still called them uncle and aunt. "What are you guys doing now?" I smiled and pointed at the doorplate. Oliver said disdainfully, "Dragon Group, a top company overseas. Do you think you're suitable to brag here? I heard that Emily was coming to the meeting, so you wanted to take the opportunity to come over. Don't you also want to start over? In the past, I admired you for being able to just walk away and have no attachments, but now I feel that you are just like that. I shook my head. There was nothing to communicate with this kind of person. I knew he was acting, and in fact everything was false. Emily stood up. I haven't seen her for 2 years, and she looks a lot thinner. It seems that she is very tired of this Johnson group. Oliver and Lucas won't let her relax, and they must have exhausted her. Jack, it's been a long time. How is your leg recovering? I rubbed my knee. At that time, she made me kneel down and apologize. My relationship with her ended a long time ago. Not bad, the medical technology abroad is quite good. There are no after effects. I laughed and said, I'll go in first. If you don't have anything else to do, I'll see you later. Hey, don't go anywhere. No one can just walk in there, Oliver said. But I went in anyway, and the security guard didn't stop me. Oliver and Lucas said, if that person can go in, so can we. The security guard said, you only have 3 invitations, so only 3 people can go in, and the rest of you have to wait outside. The man just now was a hotel staff member, so he could come in. Oliver understood that he actually worked at the New York hotel, and even a cleaning staff member could pretend to be so impressive. Soon, the Dragon Group's bidding project banquet will begin. When my senior sister and I went on stage, Oliver, Emily, Lucas, and my ex-in-laws were all stunned. Everyone was thinking, what's going on? Isn't he the one who cleans the hotel? How come he's the head of the project department? How is that even possible? Who does he think he is? Is the person next to him Emily, the daughter of the director of the Wall Street Project Research Institute, who is known as a genius in the planning industry? She's a very beautiful woman. It's her. When everyone publicly announced that Emily was my wife, Emily and the others were shocked. How could this be? When our group decided not to choose the Johnson Group's project, but the project of a small, lesser-known company, Oliver immediately began complaining, feeling that it was so unfair. He said that this person had a grudge against us and was doing this on purpose. Emily, my wife Emily, was previously his ex-wife. After the divorce, he quietly went abroad to do research and development, and this time he came back to get revenge in New York. I've never met anyone so petty. There's nothing special about working with them, Oliver said angrily, and suddenly our Dragon Group and Wall Street Project Department were trending on the internet. I smiled slightly, took out a recording and a video from my bag, and played them on the big screen. At that moment, all the trending and negative comments were overshadowed, and there was no suspense. Emily covered her mouth, and Oliver was full of disbelief, saying that it was a synthesis and it was not our video at all. That video and audio recording happened to have recorded Emily and Oliver hurting my daughter Sophia that night, as well as evidence of their cheating. Soon, the Johnson Group's reputation hit rock bottom, and previous partners also terminated their cooperation. That night, Emily and Oliver cried together, and Emily's ex-in-laws also wanted to kick her out of the house, accusing her of damaging the family's reputation. I have told her many times to behave herself, but now that everyone knows, how can the Johnson Group recover? It seems that you are not suitable for the position of president, so you should let your cousin take over. After being kicked out of the house, Emily found Oliver, but Oliver and Lucas refused to pay for the children's milk powder, medical expenses, and other living expenses on the grounds that she was no longer a rich girl. A few days later, I was preparing to leave New York and return overseas. At the airport, I met a dazed woman with 2 children, a 6-year-old and a 1-year-old, who looked very pitiful and dragged me along. I froze. Wasn't that Emily? What was she doing? What are you doing? I'm boarding the plane, I said and tried to leave, but she cried and held onto my hand, saying, Jack, we were husband and wife. Please help me. I've been kicked out of the house and I'm no longer the Johnson daughter. Oliver and Lucas are like animals without feelings. They don't care about their children at all and they don't want to pay child support. How am I supposed to live? When you left, I gave you $1 million. Can you help me? I shook my head and said, no, I never took the $1 million, and even if I wanted to, Oliver would never agree. Besides, what I can't accept the most is that you killed our child Sophia for the sake of Liam, and I can never forgive you for that. In this life, just consider it a mistake, and make amends to Sophia in your next life. I have to go. My wife is still waiting for me. If I delay here for too long, she will misunderstand. I am not the type of person who likes to have an affair. I am very dedicated. Unlike you, Emily, goodbye, never to be seen again. Her eyes were full of despair. Jack, is there really no love left in you? Can you help me one more time? I shook my head. Sophia's feelings for you died the moment she died. The moment you had my leg broken to make me apologize. I'll see you in the next life. Goodbye. I turned around and bumped into my senior. My senior asked me if we were done talking. What did we talk about? I said, you probably don't care about this, but don't worry. I won't have many girlfriends. I'll only be faithful to you. My senior sister laughed and pinched my ear, saying that I wouldn't dare do that. 6 months later, I heard that Oliver had an accident. He was stabbed to death by Emily. And Lucas was also beaten up badly and was later admitted to a psychiatric hospital. Emily was arrested and sentenced to 12 years in prison. She wanted her in-laws to hire a lawyer to fight her case, but they refused, thinking she didn't deserve their efforts. Emily then approached me, hoping I could help her fight the case and reduce her sentence by 2 years in the second trial. But I refused her request outright. We were no longer close, and if she wanted help, she should have contacted a law firm directly. A year later, I heard that Emily's child had been sent to an orphanage and had met with an accident, resulting in his death. Emily was very sad to hear the news while she was in prison, and she had a fight with one of the leaders there. In the end, she couldn't stand being bullied anymore, and chose to end her life in the bathroom at 2 a.m. I received a text message on my phone, which she had sent secretly using the leader's phone. It said, I'm sorry, Jack. I didn't know when Sophia died. Oliver made the decision himself, and there's no way I can change it now. But I'm really sorry. It's my fault Sophia died. I didn't truly feel the pain of losing a child until Liam died in the orphanage. I understand this feeling, so I don't feel that I deserve your forgiveness. I want to apologize to Sophia on the road to the afterlife and say goodbye to you. Jack. I didn't reply, but silently blocked this number. The morning sun shines through the curtains and falls on our covers. I lift my sister-in-law's quilt and tell her to go make me breakfast. Get up, lazy pig. Make me breakfast. She is so beautiful. My sister-in-law rolled over, touched me playfully with her body, and then laughed and went back to sleep.